Hey, it's Ella. Thank you for being here with me. So it is Friday night, and yeah, super happening Friday night. Where basically there were very few of us. I think there were maybe 8 of us who ate dinner here. Everybody else either is sick or went out. So there's a lot of sickness that's suddenly hitting everybody and has kind of left left several people kind of out of commission. So, and it's like different types of sickness too. It's not all the same thing. So, um, yeah, that's a little bit concerning because it's like, okay, is everybody gonna be all right? First of all, but also, you know, um, but I can't help but think about this that um, a lot of the time when I have, in the past anyway, when I've had really strong emotions come up and then release, um, a lot of the time I actually will end up, or I go through a period of intense stress and then I am out of that period of intense stress. A lot of the times I will get sick after the fact. So, of course, it's possible that I will also get struck with sickness. I really hope not, um, especially since, we are on the home stretch and I will be going back to Texas um, in less than a week. So, yeah. So, I'm super tired. I really am. I'm kind of exhausted, honestly. And, um, which, I think that's kind of comes with the territory. I find it really interesting that I believe that the other yoga teacher training that was going on at the other resort, the that teacher was here today, um, and he ate lunch with us, sort of with us, kind of sitting off on his own. Um, and so I don't remember if it was at lunch. I guess it was at lunch where he asked us, well, you guys going back to class, today for the rest of the day, and we were like, no, we're done with class now. And he's like, but you don't graduate till next Tuesday, right? And we're like, yeah. And then he asked us if we had a written exam, and we don't. Um, you know, the most important things to Deep, our teacher, the most important thing is moving someone into a pose properly with proper alignment and keeping them safe, holding that pose properly with good alignment, keeping them safe, and then moving them out of that pose with proper alignment, keeping them safe. That is what he cares about more than anything else, more than the names of the poses, more than, the different parts of anatomy in the body. He cares about that more than anything. So he has a very therapeutic frame of mind. And that is something that it just really speaks to me. I feel that is absolutely, that it makes or breaks your yoga practice, honestly. If your alignment is bad or off, you are going to hurt yourself. And your yoga practice is going to be detrimental and possibly even dangerous for you. So it's crucial. It's absolutely crucial. So aside from that, the second thing that he puts a great deal of importance on is understanding how to help someone get into a pose that works for their body. Okay. So he is all about making the pose work for the person, not making the person force themselves into the pose. And I love that. That is so, that's just, I don't know. I'm like, that speaks to my soul right there, because, every body is different. Every body, needs slightly different things to help it heal, and to help the body be at its optimum health. So it makes sense that there are certain poses that that aren't going to be accessible for some people, and that if they are at all accessible, I mean, I can't tell you how many different modifications we did just for one pose in our classes. I mean, there were some poses where he would try 6, 7, 8 different things to modify it for someone in the class who needed that modification. So we're just talking about, a class full of able-bodied women. So that's not including someone who is severely obese. It's not including amputees. It's not including, people with chronic illness, chronic fatigue. It's not including people who have, multiple sclerosis, diabetes, so they may have neuropathy in their feet. It's just, it's amazing to me how he is able to guide a group of people to think about, to basically get creative with props and the way that we use the props, so that it makes a pose accessible for the human who is standing before us, who wants to get in this pose, but they can't. It's not accessible for them at that point in time. And so, I love that. And so to him, that kind of stuff is far more important than knowing the names of the poses in Sanskrit, which I am working on learning that, but it's a different language. So it's going to take, that's not something that can be learned in 2 weeks. Okay. It just can't. So he places in my opinion, he places the importance and the priority where it really needs to be. So, and that is keeping the students safe, and, and also making sure that every pose has proper alignment, because that is going to keep the students safe. So, anyway, but I found it really amusing that the other teacher was kind of taken aback that we weren't having a written exam or an anatomy exam, or, being tested on the Sanskrit names, things like that. I found that really interesting. So, so I guess the other group was tested on those things, which, different strokes for different folks. I mean, every teacher is looking for different things, and every teacher has different priorities. And as long as everyone who graduates has the core of the information that they need, so that they can start to build their own teacher arsenal of tools, if you will, that's what's important. So, but I'm with Deep. I agree that alignment is king. If you don't have alignment, then you are going to screw up your body. You're going to screw up your students. And that's not yoga. That's not yoga. That is endangering other people. So, yeah. So I can completely understand and identify with why he is so particular about that. Because if he's going to have his name associated with training, then, we ought to be following what he feels is the priority. And we ought to be aligned with him as far as the priority. And I absolutely am. And so anyway, I guess that was a bit of a rant that I didn't really mean to go on, but there you have it. So it's just been like yoga all day, all the time for the past 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever. And so we're all just sort of like, I'd kind of like to not think about yoga for about 12 hours or so. Just have a little bit of a break and then come back and, talk more about it some other time. So anyway, so we had our last class this morning. We did learn a few new techniques, and I honestly feel like I really, really feel like we as brand new teachers could potentially spend honestly years studying yoga. Years. And I think it's really going to take years of study to get the depth of understanding that I know I want to have, that depth of understanding. And I also totally get it that it is not going to come overnight. So this is a lifelong track for me, and I am really happy to be on it. So the main other thing that we focused on today was, there were two things. One was our group got together, and we came back together after all of us have, we've all outlined our sequences, and I practiced mine earlier on video, and I actually had to add a pose to it because I didn't have enough poses. So but I'm really happy with my sequence. My 15 minutes, of fame, so to speak. I'm very happy with it, and I feel like the class that my group is giving is going to be. I think it's going to be very good. I think that that everyone is going to really be. I think it's going to be great, honestly. So everything just kind of fell into place with it. So it's really, really nice, really awesome, actually. Okay, so the other thing is that this morning we had our sharing with our philosophy teacher, Vijay. And it got super deep and super emotional, and it was really powerful. And I have been studying, like, truthfully, I've been studying yoga concepts for many years. I just it didn't register that these concepts really had to do with yoga, the practice and study of yoga, until I was here learning about the philosophy. And I'm like, this philosophy is stuff that I have studied and for years, just in a different context. So that is really I don't know, it just feels really good, because it's like, oh, this information is not new to me. It's the context that's new to me. It's the certainly the Sanskrit labels that are new to me, and but the actual concepts of in the philosophy, not new to me. It's stuff that I've been kind of, either some of it I've just been dabbling in, but a lot of it I've actually been practicing in different ways for a long time. So it just reinforces that I'm doing the right thing, essentially. So but it was really beautiful to get to just share a little piece of our heart with him, and let him know that he and in a typical fashion, he takes zero credit for it. He's like, he's just acting as a channel for just conveying the information correctly and in a way that resonates. And um, and truthfully, we all hear what we need to hear. Um, so okay, fine, but there's a lot that you have to. There's a lot of care involved in being a channel. There's a lot of care involved, like for yourself, if you're going to be in that role. It can't be just any Joe Schmo off the street who's going to do that. It has to be someone who has, deep respect and has, you know, has studied extensively and, has the level of experience and knowledge and integration that Vijay has. So, you know, he could take a little bit of credit, at least for all the work that he's done to get to a point where he is such a confident and truly effective teacher, so, but I feel that way about all of our teachers, honestly. I really do. And something that one of our assistants said this morning, and she's spot on, that all three of our teachers they have such different personalities and they have such different styles, and that the three of them work together in such a remarkable way. I mean, it's really, really special because they all three bring such vastly different things to the table, and it's like a three-piece puzzle. They have a synergy. It's a special thing that they've got going here. So anyway, it's been absolutely amazing. I can't say enough good things. If it were completely up to me, I would have the training somewhere besides Bali, but it's not up to me. So yeah. There you go. I actually would love to go to India personally. India is a huge country, so and the different areas of India are basically kind of like different countries themselves, because culturally there's a lot of difference. Anyway, I only know this from having Indian friends, so otherwise I would be completely ignorant to it. So but I would love to go there. I really would. So yeah, someday that's going to be on, I'm going to add that to my bucket list of that. I want to go to India and really spend some time there, in different parts of India. So yeah, I think that's going to be on my list. So, there are so many places that I want to travel to, honestly. Many places. So, the other thing that I will add before closing tonight is that I started looking at the yoga scene, if you will, in Maine, which is where I would like to live. So I'll just say it looks like there's a good foundation of yoga. And there's actually a pretty good variety of the types of teachers available, and but there aren't that many. So there's a handful of studios in Portland, which is the biggest city in Maine, and then there are some like in Yarmouth and York and a few other places here and there. But there's a lot of space. In other words, there's a lot of room, there's a lot of space, but there's enough an established yoga scene, that it won't be like trying to create something out of nothing. So that I find really exciting. So yeah, I look forward to that. And I have just sort of dabbled on the exterior of the Austin, Texas yoga scene. And that is, honestly, it's overwhelming. It's saturated and overwhelming. And actually, one of the teachers she's a new teacher partner with Yoga East West, who is the one that is running this particular training that I am here for. So she's a newer teacher, Christina Anderson, I think is her name, and she's actually based in Austin. So I thought that was interesting that I'm like, oh well, of course she's based in Austin, and so she teaches at between several of the studios there. But she also teaches, private classes and retreats and all kinds of stuff. So I thought about, when I get back to Austin, I thought about seeking her out and just kind of seeing what her style is like. And, there are a lot of kind of famous yoga teachers in the Austin, Texas scene, which is why it is kind of saturated, because it reminds me of LA. LA yoga teachers, and really good ones and really sought after ones, are a dime a dozen. Like, there are a bunch of them. So it's really a challenge to kind of forge your way there. And because because I have decided that as much as I enjoy Austin, but it's still Texas, and I still want to leave Texas. Because of that, it's like I don't want to get too involved in the yoga scene there. I'm fine to stay on the periphery, honestly, because I'm not staying. So, yeah. It's a little bit of a bittersweet feeling, because Texas, I've lived in Texas. I was born and raised there, and I have lived there for most of my life. And every time that I'm there and I'm settled in there, I'm like, I just want to be somewhere else, honestly. And really, the only other place that keeps coming back to me over and over again is Maine. I just love it there so much. It's like my soul just feels completely comfortable and aligned, and basically it's effortless for me to enjoy being there. There are plenty of downsides to it. There are plenty of things, wrong with it, whatever. No place on earth is perfect, okay? The only perfection that we find, the only true stillness and happiness and joy that we find, comes from inside. The only sense of home that we have that is everlasting comes from inside. But there's something to be said for when you are in a geography, when you're in a specific place in this world, there's something to be said for the way that you naturally feel in just a natural state. There's something to be said for the way that you feel when you are in that place, without going to any extreme, just sitting and meditating in a space in that location. It's like, well, what do you feel, And I honestly, I sleep I get the best sleep that I've ever had in my life when I'm in Maine. So, it's the most restorative, like just the most restorative and best sleep. I can sleep more deeply and it's the best. And I just feel naturally calmer and naturally more at ease when I'm there. And I don't know. It's one of those things I've always felt at home when I'm there. And again, knowing that home doesn't, as a concept, doesn't really exist on this earth, because we're not meant to stay here. This is just, it's a trip. It's a journey, and we are not meant to. We don't stay here. We arrive, we live, and we leave, and we go somewhere else. We may come back, for another life or another 60 lives or whatever. But yeah, it's like this earth is not our home. Earth is not our true home. So home has to be inside. It has to come from somewhere inside. But there's something to be said for the fact that the very first time I went there in 1999, I was on a date, and we drove to Maine, and I had never been there before, but I knew my way around. Now, I know what that's all about. I know why I know my way around, but I didn't know why for a long time. So, there's something to be said for that. There's something to be said about arriving in a place and already having that deep of a connection with it. So, and a lot of people feel that way about Bali, and I just don't. I just straight up do not feel that way. And that's okay. There are plenty of places on this earth that are magical. And yeah, Bali is magical. I just personally don't have a deep connection with it. I just don't. So, would I come back? Yes, I would come back. There are lots of things that I would do differently and choose differently coming back. But yeah, I would absolutely come back here. I would need some time away first before doing that. But yeah. Anyway, there's so much more I could say, and I might go ahead and record another video to upload. Maybe not. I don't know. But for now, I'm going to end this because I have been talking already for almost 30 minutes. So I don't know. I don't know why. I just keep going and going. But anyway, so thank you so much for being here with me and watching this video. And I will definitely see you tomorrow.